Hi friends, welcome back to Nurses Nook and Corner. Today in this video, we are going to see in detail about endotracheal intubation, which is the most important topic that can be used at the time of emergencies. Before going into the topic, if you didn't subscribe the channel, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to get the uploaded videos immediately. Definition of endotracheal intubation. Intubation is a standard medical procedure that involves inserting a flexible tube into a person's airway to keep it open or to restore its patency if obstructed. Articles required for intubation. Endotracheal tubes. It is of various sizes and it is taken according to the age of a person. Most probably for the adult, for female 7.5 can be used and for male 8 can be used. And laryngoscopes, stillet and bougie. These are the articles that is used if the patient have difficult intubation. Megal's forceps, ampu bag, suction to clear the airway, oral airways, syringe to inflate the endotracheal tube cuff, dynaplast to place it in position, and the stethoscope to check the position of the endotracheal tubes. Now let's see the indication of endotracheal intubation. Decreased airway patency, demand in oxygen supply, if the patient have depressed airway reflexes, if a patient need for sedation to reduce metabolic demands, depressed sensorium, upper airway instability. So these are the indications that are required for endotracheal intubation. The contraindication of endotracheal intubation are basilar skull fracture, laryngeal trauma, obstructed airway, intact gag reflex, and the cervical spine injury. These are the conditions where the endotracheal tube intubation is contraindicated. The intubation technique, this to be maintained properly so that the intubation would be easy and effective. So you should keep your back up straight, and while intubating the patient, the laryngoscope should be lifted up and away. It should be facing at 90 degree and you should not rotate the wrist. The 7P for intubation procedure helps us to do the intubation procedure easy. The first one is preparation, 2 pre-oxygenation, 3 pre-treatment, 4 paralysis with induction, 5 protection and positioning, 6 placement and confirmation of placement, and 7 is post-intubation management. So this 7P helps us to start the intubation procedure from the beginning till the end of the procedure. The first P, preparation, monitor pulse oximetry, blood pressure and the cardiac rhythm. At least one functioning IV line or preferably 2. Balvas mask, Yankee suction, end-tidal carbon dioxide, that is to capture the capnography, functioning laryngoscope with blade of choice, endotracheal tube of appropriate size, check cuff, load and shape, stillet 10 ml syringe, all medication to be kept ready for administration, assess for possible difficult airway. So these are the things that is need to be prepared before starting an intubation. Next P is pre-oxygenation. So before intubating, you need to oxygenate the patient. So 3 minutes of normal tidal volume breathing or 8 vital capacity breaths with 100% oxygenation. Use non-rebreathing oxygen mask if 100% O2 source not available. Prevent desaturation during intubation. So these are the things that are necessary for pre-oxygenation. Next is pre-treatment. For pre-treatment, lidocaine 1.5 mg per kg IV is used to reduce the intracranial and bronchospastic response to laryngoscopy in patients with elevated intracranial pressure. The next one is fentanyl 3 microgram per kg IV over 1 minute, which reduces the sympathetic response, that is the elevated heart rate and blood pressure in intubated patients with elevated ICP, intracranial hemorrhage, cardiac ischemia, or aortic dissection. 0.01 mg per kg of vecronium or pancuronium bromide blunts ICP elevation caused by succinyl choline in patients with elevated ICP. Atropine can also be considered as pretreatment in children under age 1. Fourth P is paralysis with induction. So induction agents are etominate 0.3 mg per kg IV, midazolam 0.3 mg per kg IV, ketamine hydrochloride 1.5 mg per kg IV, propofol 1 to 2 mg per kg IV, and the paralytic agents are succinyl choline 1.5 mg per kg IV and rocuronium 1 mg per kg IV if succinyl choline is contraindicated. The fifth P is protection, cricoid pressure and positioning. So, cricoid pressure is also called as Sillick maneuver, that is firm pressure on cricoid cartilage to prevent gastric regurgitation. It should be applied as soon as consciousness lapses and it to be maintained throughout intubation until tube placement is confirmed. The sixth P is placement and confirmation of placement. The insert endotracheal tube with direct visualization of vocal cords and inflate the cuff. Confirm endotracheal tube in the trachea using end-tidal CO2 capnography. The other confirmation methods are auscultate lungs bilaterally to ensure right mainstem intubation has not occurred. Secure endotracheal tube with tape. Release Sillick maneuver. That is, the cricoid pressure should be relieved. The last 7th P is post-intubation management. Initiate mechanical ventilation, chest X-ray to assess placement of endotracheal tube. Tip should be at mid-trachea. Long-acting sedatives and if necessary paralytics can be used. Lorazepam 0.05 mg per kg IV for sedation and vecronium 0.1 mg per kg IV for paralysis can be used. The post-intubation care includes assess the patient ABC, measure cuff pressure, check endotracheal tube tapes are secure, document position of endotracheal tubes at the teeth or lip level, order a chest X-ray and perform ABG, start sedation, inform the patient and their family if the patient is conscious, and restock the intubation trolley. So these are the post-intubation nursing care. After intubation, you must follow the 5 element of VAB bundle care, that is prevention of ventilator associated pneumonia. The 5 elements are head of bed elevation, oral care with chlorhexidine, stress ulcer prophylaxis, daily sedation assessment and spontaneous breathing trial, deep venous thrombus prophylaxis. So these are the 5 element VAB bundle, and ensure that you should check the cuff pressure. It should be at 30 mm Hg. If there is a cuff pressure is not maintained, then the patient may have more chance of aspiration which may ultimately leads to ventilator-associated pneumonia. The updated technology is it enables quick and easy intubation with its display, providing a consistent, clear, real-time view of your patient's airway. If you like the video, don't forget to press the like icon, and if you didn't subscribe the channel, subscribe and press the bell icon. If you have any doubts or suggestions, you can give in the comment section. Follow us in Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook and Twitter. Thank you friends and keep supporting.